We have a question from Brian. He's saying, we are starting to see a lot of rebellion taking place worldwide, like Jesus predicted last December. Are things about to get more intense in the upcoming months as these systems start to collapse? Or are people going to start to come together and work on a higher frequency?
Okay. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. What you are witnessing, of course, is the light bulb going on in a lot of minds. There was a lot of confusion when the COVID experience began and the propaganda began, and there was a lot of confusion when the vaccines came out and the pressure and the bullying to be vaccinated started. And so you've had a very, very volatile couple of years. But what's happening now is, we will call it phase 2 of the plan to shift and change the structure of your world by those beings who wish to lower the frequency. Now, again, this is something that is so interesting from our point of view, because what we see is that within their worldview, let's say the World Economic Forum and the global elites, the banking system, they all have a worldview in which what they want makes sense to them. So just as Nazi Germany made sense to the Nazis, given their worldview, the World Economic Forum and these global transformations that are being attempted make sense to the beings within those worldview groups. Now, those of you that are not in that worldview group are starting to say to yourselves, well, hang on a second, I'm not behind this. I don't want to eat crickets. I don't want farmers to be put out of business. I don't want travel restrictions. So really, the shift and change in the psychology of the majority is really still growing and doubling and fermenting, and you're beginning to see the desire for freedom in the masses increasing. And it may seem slow to those of you that have been doing your forgiveness work and studying spiritual material, but you must remember, for those that were just watching television and doing as they were told and believing in their governments and believing in the systems at play, this is a relatively new realization, and millions upon millions of people are beginning to see that something nefarious is afoot. So you are in witnessing demonstrations, in witnessing rebellion. These are the beings who are on the leading edge of having something threatened. So for example, the truckers in Canada, they were on the front lines of the mandates. And so it gave them the courage, the impetus. In fact, they had no choice. It was either do as you're told or stand up for your own choice. And so they felt they had no choice. So what's happening in society is wave after wave of this. There are many beings who are living in comfortable homes. They have enough money to manage the increasing gas prices. They are not yet on the streets. They are not yet at their school board meetings. They are not yet running for office in their local government because it has not impacted them personally yet. It's starting to get very irritating, but they are coping with it. So what you've got over the coming year or so is going to be an increasing number of people that are being impacted. So for example, you know, with increased gas prices, there are people now who have to move. They cannot drive an hour to work anymore. So they have to move. This is starting to get their attention now because they've got no choice. They cannot get to their job given the cost of getting there, or they have to quit their job and try and find another one. So ordinary people that have been taught to get along, go along, get along, don't upset the cart, don't upset the apple cart, don't upset your teacher, don't upset the police. These people now are being impacted, and we regretfully tell you that there is more yet to come. Because the sleep has been so deep, the sleep has been so deep and the propaganda so well constructed, that the dependence on a system that now is attacking people has been hidden from those who are dependent. And the millions and millions of people who work for the government or who work for big pharma or who work for the oil companies are now seeing that they have been complicit some way in creating this, and yet they don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want to lose their paychecks. There is a lot of angst and disturbance going on within the masses now, and that is a good thing. That is what you need to turn the tide. You need more and more and more people. One of the reasons that the Canadian government, for example, has stepped back a little bit from being quite so obnoxious is because they saw the turnout for the truckers. It is because they saw the global reaction to the truckers. They are reassessing their strategy because they know that a lot of people are against them now. And so the period of slipping things in quickly is over. They have played their hand. These government organizations that want to change your world to their benefit have played their hand, and everybody is seeing their cards. So there are no secrets now. There are no agendas hidden anymore. And as they continue, because what happened in 2020 with the COVID pandemic, we'll call it, because that's exactly what it was, there was a decision made to implement strategies that were worked on for a very long time. But once that first domino was flicked and the others began to fall, there was no predicting what people would do. And this is the joy of humanity. This is the joy of you, each one of you. Your desire for freedom is powerful. Your creative ability is tremendous. And your love of humanity is real and true and visceral. And when you actually see injustice, the calm, quiet, complacent person begins to feel energy coursing through their body, and the voice inside saying, well, hang on a second, that doesn't seem very fair. This is not right. And that is what motivates. Remember, change of mind, change of heart is what has to happen before you can change your behavior. So you are going to see continuing mass demonstrations against the plans to stop producing food, change the food that you're eating, cutting back on your quote unquote carbon footprint. This is just a ploy to control. But the effect that it's having, and this is sort of a knife edge upon which your culture is walking right now, the more ridiculous and controlling the governments get, the more people wake up. So there is this back and forth that is happening. There is this energetic coming from the galactic center that is empowering all of you. And that is why they did what they did when they did it, because they knew that if they waited any longer, the people would become more and more and more free, more and more difficult to manage. And so they chose a date to start the process, hoping that they would be able to wrest control from you before the galactic upgrades made you unmanageable. So that is what you're witnessing right now. You're witnessing control and galactic upgrades pulling and pushing between each other. So once again, we want you to understand that your work, your forgiveness work, your creative work, your channeling work, your art work, your writing, your singing, whatever it is that you are moved to do to contribute beauty and love to the world, this is the frequency that is necessary. A song can open someone's heart and inspire them beyond your ability to comprehend. A trucker driving across the country can enliven the world. Do not dismiss yourself and the actions that you can take coming from a place of love and understanding that this is a very, very significant time in your planet's evolution, and you are free will beings, and you are powerful, you are creative, and you need to bring these things forth so that everyone around you can feel it and see it, so that you can step into your purpose, the purpose that you came here to engage in, the purpose that you came in to reveal to others as a teacher of God. That is what you are. You are a teacher of God, and you have tremendous abilities just waiting under the surface for you to be courageous, for you to speak your truth, for you to go and get a seat on your local school board, for you to go to your local council and run for office, for you to write that article that you want to write, for you to sing that song. Never ever dismiss your creative channel. There are beings who have changed the world writing a song alone in an apartment when they were 20 years old, and they had no idea that millions and millions and millions of people would be inspired by that song. They didn't know. And many of you don't know what you are going to bring to this wonderful, wonderful evolution. So that is your job, is to look at your own evolution, your own creativity, and your own desire to shift and change your environment, your garden, your family, your planet, whatever it is. Trust that you will be led towards the future that is your destiny. Wow.